News out of Bluegrass Airport. Multiple flights have been delayed. More may be affected. Here's a look at the current flight status. Bluegrass Airport leaders tell us problems with a business jet that landed this morning has caused major issues for travelers. WKYT's Samantha Valentino is live at Bluegrass Airport with the latest on the travel delays. Samantha, what are you hearing out there?
Well, Victor, the good news here is that the runway has now reopened and we have resumed to normal operations. As you briefly mentioned there, we are still seeing some delays on the board here. However, the majority of them are scheduled to either arrive or take off within the next hour, so it shouldn't be impacting operations here for much longer. Now, we do know that this whole situation started here around 9 this morning. Airport officials say a small private business jet landed here in Lexington and pulled into the safety area. We're told that there were fewer than 10 people on that plane. All of them are okay and were able to exit the plane. They've not said why that plane had to go to the safety area. However, we do know the plane was intended to land here in Lexington. This was not an emergency landing situation. Now, that plane did need to be towed out of the safety area, which takes some time and is what caused delays to both arrivals and departures. We know from FlightAware that at least one flight which was heading to Lexington as this was all happening was diverted to Louisville. We now know that plane is heading back here to Lexington now. We've heard from several passengers here this morning who are experiencing delays. Steven Spear is heading to Peru today by way of Atlanta. His flight was delayed by 2 hours.
We're certainly happy that it isn't anything disastrous. There's not a crash or fire or loss of life or injuries or anything. And it's just one of those things. When you travel these days, you just can't count on 45-minute layovers in places. Things like this happen. And looks like professionals are managing it. So far, everything is working out.
And Steven said he thankfully has a longer delay in Atlanta, so the delays here in Lexington won't impact him getting to his final destination, which of course is Peru. And Victor, we do just want to reiterate to folks, everything has reopened, the runway is reopened, and we are back to normal operations here at Bluegrass Airport. So thankfully, hopefully, the arrival and departure delays will be cleared here soon. But for now, live in Lexington, Samantha Valentino, WKYT.